Okay, shall I start? Madhu and Arpana, shall I start? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, so this class is of MS21. Fine. I hope you are there in the last class. So MS21 is social process and behavioral issues. In the last class, I discussed a little bit on the same subject. Fine. So there are few, I think, in PGD HRM you have to take four options, four subjects out of nine subjects. There are from MS21 to MS29. It is up to you. I think you have to choose, and you have chosen any four. So MS21, 22 is also in your area. So these are very basics in human resource. Human resource management is associated with behavioral science. Fine. What is behavioral science? Behavioral science is a science. It has been seen that it is very necessary in the management field. Behavioral science, the subject is a combination of many subjects like psychology, economics, law, history, civics, and many other subjects. Together has formed this behavioral science. Because sometimes we do not know about ourselves. If I ask any one of you, in the morning you are something, in the afternoon you are something, now you are something. Your own behavior. In the morning, I do not know your age, I do not know your family. Fine. Without knowing anything, I am telling you. In the morning, you say, my father is the best. In the evening, you say, no, my father is very rough and tough. Fine. My father is not looking after me well. Next day morning, you are telling different thing. In the lunch, you are telling, my mother is the best cook. She cooks very well. At dinner, you are telling, mother doesn't know how to cook. That auntie used to cook well. Like that, like that. We are changing our views. We are changing our perception. We do not have any control about our own thinking. You are all adult. You think yourself. What you are thinking today, you are thinking something tomorrow. Today you are telling Swans is my best friend. After a few days, due to whatever, you are telling no, he is an enemy, he is not my friend. I want to be separated from him. I don't want to talk to him. I don't want to talk to her. Due to some situation or rather, you are forced or you are able or you are doing or changing your views, changing your mind. Mind is a very big box. Mind is not our little brain. It is not a matchbox. You may have 2000 square feet, 3000 square feet house, but you cannot keep your mind inside that 3000 square feet house. Your mind is much more bigger than that. In the morning, your mind is in Calcutta. In the afternoon, your mind is in Delhi. In the evening, your mind may be in Mumbai. You are not able to control your mind. Then also we discuss about mind because mind is one of the part and parcel of this behavioral issues. Mind tells us many things. Let it be conscious or subconscious. Mind guides us, gives us the way to do and what not to do. In the last class, I discussed about self-esteem. I discussed about goal setting. Little bit I told you about perception. Perception is very essential. Today you are telling Indian cricket team is the best team we have. Tomorrow you are telling no, this team is not at all good. Today I am supporting some player, tomorrow I am supporting some other player. Today I am telling this hero is the best hero, tomorrow I am telling no, this hero is not at all. He doesn't know how to act. We are changing our perception very fast. Perception is a huge area in case of our behavioral issues. We process and interpret the incoming raw data in the light of our experiences, in terms of our current needs and interests, in terms of our knowledge, expectations, beliefs, and motives. Altogether, we call this as perception. We use our knowledge, we use our experience, we use our beliefs, and with all this, we perceive something. We perceive about the human being, we perceive about some event, or we perceive about some object. But perception is very necessary. For anything whatever we are doing, behind that there is a perception. And this perception is taking us for the end result. What decision we will be taking? Who is the best manager today? Who can take the correct decision in correct time? Taking decision is very necessary. For taking decision, your perception is very vital. We talk about interpersonal perception. Interpersonal perception begins with the perception of another person, an awareness and appraisal of his attitude, attributes, intentions, and their like reaction to one's action. There are certain characteristics of the perceiver. What are those characteristics? Knowing oneself makes it easier to see other accurately. First, you have to understand who are you, what are you. If you know yourself, in which area you have first knowledge, then only you can take the correct action. If you know song, if you know singing, if you have the idea about singing, then you can judge who is the best singer. Otherwise, you cannot say who is the best singer if you do not have any knowledge on singing. So a prominent singer can take judge a singer. If you know cooking, then you can judge food, which food is very good, because if you know to taste food and if you know to cook food and if you have any ideas about the taste of the food. One's own characteristics affect the characteristics he is likely to see in others. मतलब आप जैसे हैं, you used to think others in the same way. You used to see others, we used to see others in our own eyes. We used to see others through our own eyes. But always that is not correct. Our eyes may not be the correct eyes to see or judge somebody. Our judgment may be wrong. Our perception may be wrong. Accuracy in perceiving others is not a single skill. We talk about skill management. Everything is a skill. What you do, listening is a skill. How better you listen, how better you learn. Learning is a skill. Speaking is a skill. People have ample of knowledges but doesn't know how to deliver. So you have to understand this well. So accuracy in perceiving others, you have to understand that accuracy is required while perceiving others. You just simply say somebody is good, somebody is bad by seeing once may not be correct. How long you know that person you are telling good or bad? What is your experience of judging people? In which angle you judge people? So Perception and its application in the organization is very much necessary. You have to understand that. While taking interview of a person for 5 to 10 minutes or 15 minutes, in the UPSC the interview is conducted for 25 minutes to 35 minutes maximum, by which they try to select the future leader, bureaucratic leader, who become the SDO, district magistrate, and all these things, whatever it is. The interview is conducted for maximum 30-35 minutes. Those who are giving good interview, those who are getting selected. So by interviewing for 30 minutes, you have to judge who can be tomorrow's administrative leader. This is called employment interview. So you have to understand the perception of the interviewer. Next is, if you are a senior, you give performance report or performance appraisal of your subordinates. How much you know your subordinates. If you are his or her boss, always she will try or he will try to praise you. At the back, she or he may not be the performer. How much you know, by which you give performance appraisal to them. At the same time, your performance appraisal is also done by others who may not be knowing you well. The level of effort somebody is putting. Now there is some implication of performance or perception on performance and satisfactions. One of those is productivity. You can have perception of somebody on his productivity, how much output he or she is giving. That ratio, that output ratio is your perception. Job satisfaction is one of the area of somebody's appraisal by which you perceive or you grade somebody. So this is one of the area which we call it as perception, by which we is to understand the pupil judgment, by which we judge pupil. So judging pupil is the perception what he or she does. So exactly in the same way, you have to understand that whatever we are doing in an organization, we are doing our best to develop the organizations. But doing this, the second thing what we discuss in this topic is learning. Learning covers virtually all behaviors and is concerned with the acquisition of knowledge, attitude, values, emotional response, and skills. So learning is not very simple. You listen to someone and you learn, you open the books and learn virtually or whatever the form it is. First thing, as I told you before some time, learning is a skill. You have to develop that skill first. Any relatively permanent change in behavior or behavioral potentials produced by your experience can give you learning. Behavioral changes take place due to the use of the whatever the things you take to change yourself. But sometimes you understand change is happening, so change is temporary. We call that change is such a thing which never changes. That means change is happening every time. So that's why change is temporary. Today you like something, you purchase it, you use it, tomorrow you change it. We call it as one demand is fulfilled, another demand comes. So demand never fulfills. If one type of demands, then the next demand comes. In the evening, your demand may be, at night, your demand will be taking dinner. When your dinner will be finished, your next demand is you want to sleep. Morning you will get up. Your demand is to have breakfast. Your demand may have to go to your professions. So demand is changing every now and then, and we have to be with the changing demand. And with the changing time, we learn. We learn how to run the life, morning to evening, morning to night, whatever it is, organization to organization. You can understand that culture in different organization is having different culture. Some organization you feel to work, you feel to go in the morning. Certain organization you join in the morning, you don't feel to go because you feel the atmosphere is not good. Not only atmosphere, other parameters are also there. Some organization it attracts employees, some organization it distracts employees. They don't feel to. They feel agitated to go to the organizations. They fall under stress in some organizational atmosphere. It is important to distinguish between two types of learning: procedural learning, or knowing how, concern your ability to carry out the particular skill action, and somewhere as declarative learning is knowing that concern you store or factual knowledge such as understanding of the history of our use of the things. One is procedural, which you do. The government organization, we call it as procedural learning. The bureaucrat, they follow the rules, we call it as red tapeism. They follow the book, they follow the constitution. Whatever is there, they go through the same process. Certain organization, you get chance for creativity and innovation. You can do the thing on your own. You can change the thing. It depends on you. How you take the action, what you do. You do it in a better way, you'll be praised. If you do it in a wrong way, you'll be slashed. But in case of government organization, they follow the red tapeism, the government rules and regulations. Somewhere for bureaucracy, it is the constitutions. So this is called the procedural learning. How you are following the procedure. Now there are some approaches of learning. One is behavioral, another is cognitive. That also you have to go through. So what is the difference between cognitive and behavioral? The cognitive is the combination of all. The behavioral is your behavior, how you are doing the thing. And in case of learning, the transfer of learning goes through the process we call it as training. Training is the part and parcel of the organization, where the knowledge is being transferred from somebody to someone, from a faculty to the bunch of employees, from a manager to the junior managers. Transferring of knowledge. When somebody is transferring the knowledge, the learner should be able to learn. The learner should be able to understand. Somewhere it is lateral transfer, sometimes it is sequential transfer, sometimes it is vertical transfer. A peer can learn from his peers. Your batchmate can learn from you. Somewhere the lateral entry people are learning, those who are working in the same organization joined later. Some marketing executive has joined as assistant manager. He will be joining in the same organization from his boss. So training is a platform where things are getting transferred from one to another. Next is skill acquisition. As learning is a skill, you have to acquire that skill. You have to be with the skill. Employee training can be defined as a systematic acquisition of skills, rules, and concept of attitude that result improve performance of the job. The job, whatever you are doing, you have to develop that skill. Knowledge of results or feedback. You have to understand learning is the process by which we acquire knowledge. We get feedback. So it may be from the distributed system, or it may be from your owning system. So there are certain behavioral modification technique. how you can change your behavior, how you can modify your behavior. So you cannot just change your behavior without some forces, external forces. Your behavior as you picked up it from your home, from the initial days of your life, you change it when you get a force. So behaviorism has led to the development of the technique of behavioral modifications. Behavior modification is a technique for encouraging the desired behavior by discouraging unwanted behaviors using operant conditioning. This technique was first used in the treatment of the mental disorder, learning disorders, and phobias. You can understand somebody sitting at home is having phobia. You know, in this pandemic, many people have died or become sick due to the phobia. Corona will affect me if I go out. Corona is not affected 100% manpower. Corona must be affected to 1, 2, 3, 4% people. But the phobia people are having by watching the television. This many people have died in COVID. This many people was affected by COVID. The television learning was the concept from which people are acquiring this message that if I go somewhere, I will be affected with COVID. So people are having phobia. So the identifications of the behavior modification is critical, observable, measurable, and you can measure it through frequency of those behaviors which is occurring to your mind time and again. You can establish this in your behavior, you let it be positive, neutral or negative, and you can develop an intervention strategy to strengthen the desired behaviors. So it is up to you. How will you develop it? You can take it positively, you can take it negatively. You can reward yourself, you can punish yourself. The choice is all of yours. The next is socialization process. We are in the society. We cannot be out of the society. We are born in a society, we will die in a society. We will be working in a society. Whatever the organization we are working, that is in the society. Our house is in the society. So you have to understand socialization is very much necessary. Wherever organizations you will be working, you may be the top executive, but you have to mingle with the junior people because they are also the part and parcel of the organizations. Ratan Tata, emeritus president of Tata Group, he used to talk to his laborers, he used to talk to his engineers, he used to talk to all the peoples because they get motivated when they see Ratan Tata is there by the side of them. He used to eat food together with his employees. So this is called socialization. You cannot be social to go every door to door. But in as far as the organization is concerned, if you are in the topmost position also, you must do that. Like if you must see in the newspaper in case of Indian Army, those who are working in Leh, Ladakh and fighting with the Chinese or the Pakistanis, their life is in danger. Sometimes the Prime Minister is to go there in some occasion, have sweet with them, take lunch with them. The Defense Minister used to go, the Chief of the Army Staff used to go frequently to meet them, to encourage them, to motivate them. That is a social process by which the organizations is united and organization can fight and win. It is not only army, it happens in many organizations, but the top management is to meet with the employees and encourage them, develop them. What we talked in the last class for human resource development, that develop this manpower. They feel, yes, we are the part and parcel of the organization. Somewhere we call it as participative management. Everybody is able to participate and they feel that we are there in the organization. This is very much essential, the socialization process. So you understand the behavioral modification and the socializations are two aspects. This technique needs careful planning to identify specific behavioral goals and procedures. The renewal of good behavior methods appears broadly consistent with the culture. It depends on state to state, country to country. It is organization to organization. There is a difference. There are certain learning organizations. The concept of the learning organization is derived from the work of Cleese Agreris and Dolan Sahon. They have developed this in 1990s. I told you HR has come in 1980s. They have developed this learning organization in 1990s. A learning organization is a form of organization that enables the learning of its members in such a way that it creates positivity, valued outcome such as innovation, efficiency, better alignment with the environment and competitive advantage. Because there is always a competition. In the competition race, you have to run. You cannot stop yourself. Fine. So that's why if you want to be in the competition, you have to learn. Next is knowledge management. One we call is as talent management. Talent management is the part of HR where the HR department used to have a data of the people, those who have talent. We call them as expert. Fine. In case of MBA, you find there are few specialization like this you are doing is called HR. Somebody is doing in finance. Somebody is doing in marketing. Somebody is doing in operations. Somebody is doing in supply chain. Somebody doing in IT. Nowadays, many other specializations come on management like sports management, medicine management, and many other things. Exactly the same like knowledge management. Whatever you learn, you have to acquire knowledge. Knowledge is a difficult term to define clearly because knowledge is of many kinds. One we call is that bookish knowledge, another we call is that experience. Now, if you ask someone which is more required, knowledge or experience, only with knowledge without experience you may not perform sometime, and sometimes the experienced people without knowledge also cannot perform. That's why we call management is academic and industry interface where it is 50-50. 50-50 means 50% knowledge and 50% experience will make you prominent, efficient and potential. That's why in USA, when MBA program started, the fresher cannot apply for the MBA program. It was told that only 3 to 5 years experience, work experience people can join in this MBA programs. Those who are working, those who had already work experiences, and they can learn well the management knowledge. Without knowledge, a fresher cannot. Nowadays in India and many other countries, after completing your graduation with some entrance test, let it be CAT, MAT or whatever it is, you can join in MBA program. But earlier days it was not there. In case of the premier institutes, and still in the premier institute there is a mark for your work experience with your GDPI. Somewhere the 10%, 10 marks is there. If you are working knowledge for 3 to 5 years, you may get 10 out of 10. And if you are a fresher, you get 0 out of 10. So that is very much required. So knowledge, it is on one hand, it's very much necessary. At the another hand, experience is also necessary. Sometimes if you are a fresher, if you interact with an experienced person on the subject topic, you may get knowledge. And as in MS21, I was talking about case studies. It is same like sample cases. If you study, you can have practical knowledge and experiences without working in an organization also. But working in an organization gives you the practical input which you may not get from the books. And there are some differences between in learning organization positive and negatives. What is positive and negatives? In case of positive, a rich multidimensional concept affecting many aspects of organizational behavior. And in case of negative, a complex and diffuse set of practices difficult to implement systematically. In case of positive, an innovative approach to learning, to knowledge management, and to investing in intellectual capital. Intellectual capital is your knowledge capital. Human resource capital we call as the human being or the human resource capital. Exactly, the knowledge capital is your knowledge, your expertise, which is being valued more than anything. Even we compare it with money sometimes. Somebody is investing money and you are giving your knowledge, sometimes it is equivalent. A businessman is investing money for an hospital or a nursing home and a doctor is getting involved We say that the knowledge of the doctor and the experience of the doctor is equivalent to some crore rupees of the investor who can only invest money, doesn't have any knowledge related to hospital or nursing home. In case of negative, an attempt to use dated concept from change management and learning theory, it is repackaged as a management consulting project. Now, in case of positive, a new set of challenging concept focusing attention on the acquisition and development of individual and corporate knowledge. But in case of negative, a new vocabulary for encouraging employee compliance and management directives in the gaze of self development. So they say, with the knowledge you can develop yourself. Yes, certainly with the knowledge you can develop yourself, but your experience also matters a lot. So this is something we discuss on self management, learning management, and we call it as uh, knowledge management overall. So knowledge management is very necessary, without which we cannot move. So to have knowledge, to have knowledge, and at the same time, with the experience, when you are working in the organization, then also sometimes we feel we won't be able to provide the output to the organization as organization demanded because we are not a motivated employee. Our motivation is not up to the mark. So motivation is very necessary for any organization to do, or in any organization if you want to give more than 100%, because the demand of the organization is always high. Manager often ask two questions about motivation of employees: what motivates people and how can I motivate people? The first question is the notion that motivation derives from the person or is a state that originates within that person. The second question is, the emphasis is placed on what the manager can do to exceed motivation. So first is what motivates people. There is a difference between person to person. We call money motivates people, but money doesn't motivate everybody. Career motivates people, but no, somebody's career also doesn't motivate. Somebody sell amenities motivates, somebody doesn't. It depends on people to people what motivates them. There is a person who was topped in class 10 examination, he was out of 1 to 10 in a board exam, in class 12 also, in medical, he also 17th rank in all over India or all over Bengal, something like that. Did his MBBS, he went for MD to USA, he did some course in AIMS, sorry, he has did his masters from AIMS Delhi, he became cardiologist, he went abroad. Then when he went abroad for studying medicine, doing MS or something, after that his friends were not knowing where he. Somebody thought he must have been settled in USA, somebody told he must have been settled in UK, somebody thought he may have a big house, he may have many cars, he must have been married, having child, enjoying his life. But maybe after 18 years, some of his friends could find that doctor in a Ramakrishna mission at Kamarpukur, where he could see a saint, a sadhu, was looking similar to his earlier friend. And when he interacted with him, he could find, yes, he is the same. Then he was told, after completion his degree, his masters from USA, he has joined Ramakrishna mission as saint. No money, no car, no family, no marriage, nothing, wearing the same clothes, and he is there. and presently he is in Belur Mall. He is working for Ramakrishna Mission. So you understand the motivation is of this person. His parents was professors, wanted his child, his son should have a better life financially, educationally, professionally, did all the support to him, done all his graduation, post graduation, and every study. He used to become one of the best student. But after all of his completion, he went to a different field. What motivates him the best? So we talk money, always it is not the money. If we talk career, always it is not the career. What is it? It depends on individual to individual. Now you understand when you talk about motivation, the poor people may be motivated by money. जिसको खाना नहीं मिलता, if you give him food or give little money, he will do anything for you. But it is very difficult to motivate the rich, educated and young people because they have their future, they have their life. If you understand, WTO was hit in 9/11. WTO World Trade Center was hit by a pilot who was hijacked the aircraft from USA and hit WTO, where he was died first, then the passengers, and that massacre, destruction, what happened. We all know this. We have seen it in television. That gentleman was young. He was belonging to a rich family, and he was having a CPL. CPL means commercial pilot license. If India, if you want to become a pilot, the expenditure, the fees must be not less than 60 to 70 lakhs. In abroad, it must be much more. So who can expend 60 to 70 or 80 lakhs for a course? You can understand how rich he was. That young pilot by any means was motivated by Osama bin Laden, by which he has hijacked the aircraft from USA, Washington. While hijacking the aircraft, if he would have caught by FDI, you can understand what would have been his life, the torture. But he was so intelligent, he was able to hijack the aircraft with the passengers. And how accurate was his flying? Without the help of air traffic control, he has flown towards the WTO center and hit the WTO center. And as he was knowing, after touching WTO, I will die first and I will not be knowing what will happen after my death. So that is called motivation. Motivation is called, like Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam was belonging to one of the poorest of the poor families. Father was a fisherman. His journey to become a scientist. He was motivated by one of his teachers. His name was Mr. Subramanian. Another example of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, I don't remember the year. It was in 94 or whatever it is. SLV-3 was launched from Sriharikota, Orissa. And after few seconds, that SLV-3 was fallen into the sea. It was an unsuccessful launch. The blame of it was Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, who was the project head of SLV-3. But the blame was taken over by his boss. His name was Professor Satish Dhawan, who was the chairman of ISRO. He has taken the blame and told the press, give me 3 years time, we will be launching SLV-4 successfully. I have a very efficient team of engineers, missile man and scientists. Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam was so motivated. He and his team has launched SLV-4 not within after 3 years. They have launched it within 1 year time. That's called motivation. The job you can finish by 10 days, the same job you can finish by a day if you are motivated. If you can do a job, 50% of a job, if you are motivated, you do 100% of that job, is called motivation. Motivation is difficult, but a very challenging concept in understanding and changing human behavior. Motivation can change the human behavior. The study of motivation attracted some attention in the early part of 19th century, as I told you. In spite of relevance and popularity of the motivational concept and its theories, there seems to be a lot of ambiguity around motivation and its applicability till everybody has worked for this. There are certain motivational approach we call, if one demand is fulfilled, another demand comes. Like call Abraham Maslow, he has told of the need of hierarchy. We call the need of motivation. Physiological needs over, then the psychological need comes. Like that. Maslow has given this in the year of 1954, where he has told the first need of ours is physiological need, that is roti kapra makan, food, clothes and shelter. And after it is being completed, we come to the psychological need like safety, security, social and self-esteem and self-actualization, by which this all gets fulfilled. For example, a student who desires a good grade in a course will consider how he can fulfill the requirement for the grade. After he or she has thought it through, his behavior will probably reflect that he perceives or she perceives to be the correct behavior to receive the grade. So if you feel you can have, there are few theorists or the scientists who has worked on motivational theories with Abraham Maslow are called Hedgeberg, Agris, McLean, Elton Mayo, Victor Bloom, Sein, and many others. Those who have worked on this. But Maslow's theory was very famous because he has told that one needs over, another needs come, one motivation's over, another motivation comes. The men and women's needs are arranged in hierarchy of importance, ranging from the lowest need to the highest need, physiological need to safety need, love need, esteem need, and finally self-actualization. If you can make a pyramid, the lowest need is the physiological need, then one by one it comes safety, social, esteem needs, and self-actualization needs. So if one is finished, another comes. It doesn't cross anybody, but one is finishing, then another is coming. It is a process by which Maslow has made it. So many other theorists have given their theories. Like Hedgeberg has given the theory called motivation hygiene theory. We know about hygiene. We call hygienic food. We call hygienic atmosphere that's being looked after. So he used to tell that hygienic need and motivational need. Like what are those? One is called working condition. Wherever you are working, the working condition should be good. Interpersonal relationship should be up to the mark. You should get proper salary. You should get salary in time. The supervision should be good. Company policy and administration should be up to the mark. Advancement of the organization should be there. It should not be stagnated in one place. You should have responsibility. You should be delegated authority. You should work yourself. You should be recognized by others. And you should get achievement and promotion. This is called Hedgeberg's motivation and hygiene theory. Another will be his job enrichment and job enlargement. This you must understand. If you have a paper called Human Resource Planning, you must have studied this, but this is a part of it where we call it about Job enrichment. In spite of over 40 studies criticizing Hesberg theory, it is still significant because it separates motivators from hygienic factors. The separation has led to the concept of job enrichment because job enrichment is very necessary. Wherever you are working, you want to enrich, you want to be uplifted. You don't want to be stagnated in the same position. So that part you must look into. Fine. So the relationship of the theories of Maslow, Margaret, McGregor, Hesberg, there is some similarity. Like where Maslow is to tell about higher level of the needs, one goes by another. In that same part, Hedberg is telling this is motivational need, achievement, recognition, advancement. Maslow is telling esteem need, self-actualization need. In case of McGregor, he tells it as theory Y, where the satisfaction, self-esteem, and self-actualization needs, the responsibility, the imagination and creativity is required. In case of Abraham Maslow, when it is the lower level needs, the same thing Hedberg is telling us hygienic factors and McGregor is telling us theory X. In case of Maslow, it is social, safety and physiological need are the lower need. In case of hygienic factors, Hedberg is telling that company policy and administration, supervision, interpersonal relationship, salary, working condition is the lower need. And McGregor is telling that security above all is required, direction and the threats and punishment and self-direction and self-control is the need, lower need, what is required. So we can do. There are many people those who have criticized all these motivational theories and told this is good, this is bad, this is that, this is that is those. But whatever the criticism has told, this theory has taken a part in the motivational arena where people have followed this theory and they have seen that this is correct. Motivation has become a model. Motivation has become a part of the organizations. Without motivation, people cannot work. That's why we tell if anybody wanted to tell anything negative to anyone, please change your negative word to affirmative, by which the meaning becomes same, but he or she gets motivated. A manager's interest in motivation, either someone else or his or her own motivation, comes about because of an interest in some result. The result may be strictly work related matter, such as whether a particular order will be filled or a diagnosis of why he is doing that, that is below budget or not, that will be looked at. Their concern over result should lead to a number of other questions pertaining to work behavior and perspective. What behavior and that behavior by whom and the behavior to whom. So naturally that they understand. The points of this diagnosis is a state of work of motivation. A manager is dealing with an invisible world, the perspective of the person. As such, the manager must use evidence of behavior, past and present, to infer what the person perspective is. That means with whom you are interacting, you have to understand is everything of that person by which you can motivate him. Who likes to take vegetarian food, if you offer him the best non-vegetarian food, he may not accept the food. The food is useless. So you have to understand before motivating somebody how he or she gets motivated. What are the areas of motivation? If you know, then you can do it in the correct options, in correct operations. Because motivation is the part and person of person. But who motivates you? You have to understand his motives and managerial behavior. Because motives of the pupils are changed. I told you the motives in the morning and the motives in the evening changes a lot. That means motives, we do not judge a person's motives. Somebody comes to help you. Always it is not that she or he wanted to help you with a good motives. Sometimes the motives may be wrong. You must be able to judge the person's motives. What is that motivates managers to become successful in running a large organization? Among other things, it is the need to have an impact, to be strong, and to influence the behavior of others of the organizational good. What separates good managers from poor managers is the need for power. So you have to understand why they need a special kind of power, because they want to be a dictator. Fine, they want to be dictator, they want to run the organizations. The top managers of a company must possess a high need of power. That is the concern for influencing people. If they are in the higher tier, higher chair, they can motivate you, they can influence you. That's why they want power, they want chair. However, this need must be disciplined and controlled so that it is directed towards the benefit of an institution as a whole and not towards the manager's personal benefit. Moreover, the top manager's needs for power ought to be greater than his need for being liked by the people. A good manager is not primarily motivated by the need of affiliation. The affiliation need refers to the desire to be hyped and accepted by other people. So naturally, managers' nature is also different. Everybody doesn't want chair. Everybody doesn't want power. Everybody doesn't want affiliation. Somebody does like this. You can understand in this COVID scenario that the government somewhere it wants name and fame. We are doing the best for the people. Some NGOs are working silently for the people. They don't want any name, any fame, but they are by the side of the downtrodden people. So this is the difference of the pupil to pupil and their motivation. Motivation of every individual is not same. Motivation of the organization is also not same. Fine. Certain organizations are working for the benefit. Certain organizations are doing charity, helping the poor of the people. So these differences makes the changes in the organization, the individual changes because the individuals are making the organizations. The individual motivations is transferring and referring as the organizational motivation. Fine. I hope it's clear, Arpana.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Fine. Any question from your side?
No, sir.
Okay. Okay. So we'll MS22. We have a class tomorrow. Also, you must be knowing.
Yes,
Fine.
sir. Yes, sir. Yes.
So tomorrow 7 to 8. If you have time, please come and join. That will be the
Okay,
last
okay.
class, I think. Fine.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Bye. Good night.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Good night.